Hey y'all, I'm Tammy, and this is Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook like our mamas did. We are making a delicious pumpkin cake. So many of you make pumpkin bread, but this is a cake. It is moist and delicious, and I can't wait to dig in. Let's get started. This recipe is in our new master cookbook, and you can see even from where you are that you can make a cake and not have to pick up the book to try to read it because the font is large. It is wonderful. Okay, we are making pumpkin cake today. It is my pumpkin bread recipe, but it is in fact made like cake because I don't use all the flour that you would typically use in a pumpkin bread. This is the best pumpkin bread you will ever taste, probably because I made it like cake. All right, this is my own personal recipe, and I'm going to start telling you what's in it. You're going to use a cup of good old brown sugar, and that's packed. We're also going to be using a cup of white sugar. You're going to use 2.5 cups of self-rising flour. You're going to use 3 eggs, a can of pumpkin. Open that up quick with my nice can opener. I always like to show it to y'all because I love it. Now, we're also going to be using a 1/2 cup of cooking oil. And I almost forgot, you're going to use a 1/2 cup of melted butter. We're going to use a cup of pecans, some vanilla extract. You're going to use a teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. And if you don't have cloves, you can use a pumpkin pie spice. And then you're using a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And that's our 3rd egg that's going in, and then salt. And y'all, this is good, good, good. Today, I'm going to make it in a sheet cake so that it's easy to serve and easy to ice. And we're going to make a delicious cream cheese icing to go on it. This will be the best pumpkin cake you've ever tasted. I promise. All right? I give it the 100% guarantee seal. Sugar, salt, pumpkin, oil, butter, vanilla, and eggs. Okay? So let's do that. Sugar, 1 cup packed brown sugar. Now we're adding our cup of white sugar, our delicious butter, our 1/2 cup of oil, and our 3 eggs. And I've got to crack one for y'all. Do that right quick. So that's 3 eggs, large eggs. And then our pumpkin, we're going to go ahead and turn it on. A whole can of pumpkin. Now, this is another one of those recipes that's hard for me to stay out of because I love it so much. And I think you will too. All right, we're going to add our cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and mix it well. And then we're going to gradually add in the flour, then the pecans. Put in a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to use a teaspoon of cinnamon. a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. This is a 1/4, someone used 2 of these. So it's a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. Now the only thing left is our flour and our pecans. So we're going to start adding our flour. Let me get a guard. This is my lowest speed. This does not have a low speed. And I'm going to start adding the flour. It's 2½ cups. Most pumpkin breads have about 3 or 4 cups of flour. It's 1 cup. And then another 1/2. This is self-rising flour. If you don't have self-rising, then you have to add your baking powder and salt. There's no need for soda in this recipe because we're not using buttermilk or sour cream. That's typically when you have to use soda to counteract acid. And we don't really have anything acidic in this baking recipe. It looks really good. We're going to put our nuts in there, and then we're going to be done. We're going to get it in the pan and make some delicious cream cheese icing. I'm using a 1/4 sheet pan. That's a 13 by 9 by 2 inches. And I'm doing this to make this easy. If you want to make this for the holidays or football night, just spray it good with a baking spray. And I typically buy these when they're buy one, get one free. I know they're expensive. If they're not on sale, they're typically about $3.50 here. And we're going to pour it in our pan and get it in the oven. It's going to make a lot of batter because it has 2½ cups of flour and then all that delicious pumpkin, a whole can of pumpkin. So it makes a nice batch. I got to scrape this thing. Got to see what I'm doing to scrape it. You want to get every bit of that good stuff out of there. Yummy. Just spread it out. Now remember, this does have nuts. And you need to, because it's in a sheet cake pan, it's going to take it longer to cook than if it were in a bundt pan. So, or in separate little layers. So you can make this like a layer cake. You can make it in a bundt pan, or you can make it in a sheet cake pan. And you can do any cake that way, typically. But let me tell you this. If you make it in a sheet pan, any cake, it's going to take it at least 10 to 15 more minutes to get done all the way in the center than it would the other types. That looks really good. Pretty and orange for this time of year. We're going to slide it in here, bake it. Now I've got on the recipe book to make this cake at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and set my timer for that time, and then we'll check it and see if it's done in the center. It may take a little longer to cook in the sheet cake pan. We'll see you then. Okay, there's nothing better on pumpkin anything than cream cheese. So we're going to mix up my cream cheese icing recipe. It's in the Master Cookbook. And let's get started doing that. And this cake is going to be absolutely delicious with that on the top. All right, we're going to mix up our icing. So you're going to start with your cream cheese and butter, and you're going to mix it until it is nice and fluffy. And we're using 12 ounces of cream cheese, and a half cup of butter. I got to grab the other cream cheese. So that's a half cup of butter and 12 ounces of cream cheese. So that's a container and a half of our 8-ounce sizes typically here in the States. And we're going to mix that until it's fluffy. Now we're going to mix in our powdered sugar. We're going to put in 2 cups to start with. So we're going to add 2 cups. 1. And 2. Now we're going to add our vanilla and a tablespoon. There's our vanilla going in. And you're going to use a tablespoon of evaporated milk. So when you're at the grocery store, buy the 2-pound bag. And then you don't have to measure anything. You just add it to the mixer. All right, there's our icing. It's going to be delicious. Way better than canned icing. I promise. Now, because it's got cream cheese in it, your cake will have to be refrigerated. So if you don't want to refrigerate your cake, then I wouldn't ice it with cream cheese icing. If you don't have room in the refrigerator for this cake is delicious by itself. You can just make it in a bundt pan. But if you want the cream cheese icing, it will have to be refrigerated. So keep that in mind when you decide whether or not you're going to make the icing. Okay, it beeped, so we're going to check to see if it's done. And it's been 5 minutes since it beeped. At least it's done. It's done, it's done. So let me get it out. Show it to y'all. It looks pretty and tall. Look, it's as tall as the pan. We're going to get it cooled down and ice the sucker. It's going to be delicious. I can't wait. All right, y'all. I actually flipped this upside down and put it in the freezer so I would have time so it would cool down quicker. And so we're just going to put it back in the pan. And get it iced. They're icing. It's going to be delicious. And it shouldn't take all this icing, maybe not even quite half of it. According to how much icing you want on your cake, I guess. I think it needs just enough to sweeten it, not too much. But now some of y'all love it, this cream cheese icing. So of course you put more on there if you want it. You're going to have plenty of it if you make this recipe. Plenty of it. All right, let's make it a little bit pretty. Just going to swirl it a little bit one way, and then we're going to swirl it the other way. All right, there you have it. A beautiful pumpkin cake. You can see that it's a soft crumb. You can see that it's a lot more like cake than it is bread. Mmm. It's so good. It is the bomb. It's so good. I hope you give this pumpkin cake a try, and please let us know in the comments if you've already tried the recipe. We'll see you next time on Collared Valley Cooks, where we cook like our mamas did. Y'all come back and see us. Bye. Love ya.